Hello guys, my name is Alex and welcome back for AOR, this time for the 6th round in Monaco. And currently you are seeing the drivers table after the first 5 rounds, and I'll try in future videos to include them for before and after the race, so you guys can get a feeling about what's going on in the championship. And currently we are standing in P5, which is not too bad considering we had a few ups and downs. We had 2 downs in Bahrain and China, and yeah, quite decent races in Australia, Baku and Spain. And we are here for the 6th round in Monaco. My feeling about this track is okay. I think my pace is quite decent, but yeah, I was struggling a bit with the setup. Here we are at the moment for my first run. The lap in general wasn't too great. I think there was still a few tenths to find. Especially you will see that there's a lot of traffic around this track, as you might expect, and you can see there's quite a huge distraction from the cars ahead, but I don't really blame them. It's difficult to avoid everyone on this track. So in terms of setup, I was not really sure, because track position in Monaco is really important, but on the other hand, the one stop or making the one stop work is really important as well in order to get a good result. So you want a setup which treats the tires good and keeps them in a healthy shape, because if they get too hot, the car is really unstable and difficult to drive, and especially in Monaco that can cost you the race when you brake too late or too early and hit the barrier, and you have to make an extra stop. So I decided to take a setup which is really predictable in the race. It's not really quick over one lap or quick over the whole race in general, but it allows me to predict what the car is doing in the corners, how I have to brake in order not to hit any wall, and that was my target, because it's really difficult to get a good result here. There are a lot of things that can ruin your result, and here we are at the end of my flying lap. I think this was quite a strong lap. In training I can do I think 107.0, maybe with a perfect lap 6.9, but that was with a really aggressive setup. And you can see at the end we managed P4, but P3 at the end because Epic got a penalty. So we are starting now P2 and P3, which is really important. And now it's our part to not stuff this up. We have 5 red lights and it's lights out and away we go. We got a decent launch off the line, but we don't really want to be too aggressive into turn 1, and we were able to manage or we were able to stay in our position, which is really good. And from now on in, it's about saving our tires, not get the rears or the fronts too hot, because that will make the handling a lot more tricky. And you might be able to see that behind us was actually some kind of contact, which means that we have a gap to the cars behind, and I think a few of them have damage. So at the moment everything looks really good in terms of results for our team, and I decided to back off quite a bit. I wasn't really pushing near to my full potential, and I think it was the same for Nadi. We both knew that the result was much more important compared to how we actually achieve it, and at the front Dominic was able to pull away because he was pushing flat out the whole race. And we are already in lap 7. We managed our tires quite well, and we also gained a few tenths on Nadi ahead, especially in this lap. The gap got closer by quite a amount, and I think it was even more in lap 8, which is a good sign in terms of our tire wear. But yeah, our plan is not really to fight him for position. Our plan is to treat our tires well and make it till the end. I know that doesn't sound a thing a real racer would do, but in Monaco things are quite different, and I'll promise that this will change in the next races for sure. And in lap 8, Nadi decides to go into the pits, and we are extending our stint by just one more lap. And we stayed out longer just to avoid any kind of traffic jam we would fit into. And the tires were at this point gone at this point, but yeah, I think it was safer to just stay out one more lap. And here we are out of the pits, and you can see the gap got even a bit closer, so somehow we were able to do an overcut here, and luckily we were able to stay ahead of the cars behind, which is really important. We don't really want to fight other cars and risk our wings in this race. And here you can see the gap to Nadi increased a slight bit, but then he got closer to Ollie, who didn't make a pit stop so far, and I was able to close him back down, although I was not really pushing, as I said, and he wasn't either. He didn't want to go for an overtake because it's too risky, which I can fully understand. And lap 21 we were released into P2 and P3, and now we make a huge cut to the end of the race, and that was because nothing really happened, despite there was a slight bit of rain coming into the last few laps, so we had to be more careful about when we brake, when we turn, and when we accelerate. And Michael is now behind us, which is also quite an achievement compared to where he started. It's really difficult to gain places in Monaco, and here we are at the end, the last few corners. We were really careful, and we managed P3, and our teammate managed P2, which is also really good for him, because now his training pays off, and that's making me happy as well. And we are now able to close the gap to the teams ahead, hopefully with some more good results. And of course, congratulations to Dominic. He was just on a mission today. His speed was incredible, and his consistency as well. And I think he was even able to avoid any kind of penalties, which is also really remarkable. And here you can see the results at the end. We got a 3-second penalty, but the gap to the cars behind was quite huge. We weren't risking too much. Both of us weren't really risking too much in this race. And here you can see the driver's table. We are now in P4, and it's basically what I said earlier this season. It's about getting consistent P3, P4s, because our field is really strong, and yeah, if you can stay consistent, you should be able to fight at least for a good result at the end, and maybe for the championship if you have a bit of luck on your side. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next races. It will be very close between the whole field. And yeah, that was the race. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, although it wasn't too exciting, and I hope to see you in the next one as well. Goodbye.